what do organizations currently do to handle reputational disasters? So who has an answer for this? Look at your experience. If you faced it earlier, try to identify what has been done in the past. So you can write in one word also. Okay, what was done in your knowledge, and why we are doing this, because we want to interact and know how to deal with this. Right? I'm going to share some very novel strategies, and you will find it very powerful. But my question is, how is it currently being handled? Siddharth Ghosh identified the issue and find past precedents, safety measures. What safety measures? What past precedents? What is the past precedent that they do? Changes in marketing strategy. How does a negative, which marketing, product marketing strategy? But they are saying bad things about the company to work at. They're not saying bad things about the product. Of course, if the company is a bad place to work at, then a lot of customers identify with the culture when they buy the product, and they will be like, no, we will not buy it. Yeah. So you will have to address this in the marketing strategy. Okay. But companies don't deal with it like that. Companies don't create safety measures. Okay, they may not use it as a feedback mechanism, and even if they do, they expect shouldn't the employee tell you privately, this is the problem, this is how many 20,000 issues I have with you. But why do they go out and say it? Right? How does it help? It harms the company. And companies don't do this. Training of current employees, okay, but how do they train them? There are gaps. If the negative review has come, you can tell the employees who remain that, boss, isne galat likha hai, this is not correct, you have to write like this. But that will not have effect. If there is somebody angry and upset with the organization, they'll still put negative reviews, right? So if such issues had been faced earlier, then okay, got it. So can we just acknowledge that there may be some opportunities to learn more about, to identify what gaps can be plugged in when we implement this process? Right? And we need to know the practices. We need to know the good past or whatever are the best practices. Okay, Hariharan S, you are saying obtain restraining orders if you know the person. Okay, and what if you don't know? Good, you are thinking. Preeti, addressing to employees by management. Yeah, this is damage control. Addressing employees by management after negative review has come or a negative press release has gone, then it is damage control. Apart from damage control, what are the remedial actions and what are the preventive actions? So we are going to say we'll divide it into two formats. But right now you should know this, that organizations pay lakhs to online reputation management firms and public relations firms. ORM firms are, specialized public relations firms which handle reputation disasters, which manage the company's reputation. How many of your companies, do you know whether your company or employer has a contract with an ORM company? They charge lakhs for every month. Yeah. Correct, Divakar. You wrote back, but the request was not entertained. That is the problem, because they will say, our platform depends on the anonymous review of the employee, right? But what if it's defamatory? And therefore, what companies do is they hire specialists and pay them lakhs. Now, what does it mean? Then if there is already a specialist, then why are we looking at it as HR managers or, even lawyers wanting to work on employment law? Are there any lawyers here? Say L if you're a lawyer. So this is a key cost head for companies. And obviously, no consultant says that I'll do unlimited work for you. So they will charge you based on how much of the work they're handling. So if there are 5 disasters in a month or 5 problems in a month, the bill will be higher. 1 problem in a month, bill is lesser. 1 problem in 6 months, even lesser. If the company in its history hasn't faced these issues because you had better HR practices, you might be saving the company tens of lakhs. Okay. So, and the company may never feel a need. Okay. Or you may have engaged an ORM firm because, before you came in, this used to happen, but after you came in, it's not happening. So what happens? The company's budget gets freed up. You can get those incentives, you can grow. And obviously, when you're handling reputation online, there's also something you have to do offline. You have to explain to the employees what's happening, all of that, a lot of stuff you have to do, right? And you have to deal with harm. All of that doesn't happen. Uska cost is not measured. Okay, because ORM doesn't deal with your employees. They will just say public mein Google pe kya reputation dikhta hai. But if you've addressed it right, then your employees already know this properly. They are happier. Things are working better, right? So how do you do that? Online reputation firms charge lakhs. A combination of preventive and remedial actions is what we will look at today. What are the preventive steps? Okay, so everybody, you were saying learning past good practices. We're going to take a deep dive into exactly what needs to be done from a negative online reviews perspective. Okay, so having policies and codes in place is very important. Now, one trick here: you do not often get negative reviews. You may get negative reviews from an employee who's in the company, but often you get negative reviews up from people who have left the company, because even if you wanted to, you wouldn't be able to. Even if you found out about the identity, you will not be able to take enough action against them, right? And that is the real killer. And over and above that, they will write anonymously. Agreed? If you agree with this, write A. Okay, now what does that mean? Because most of you will think that in our policies, what will we say? Till the person is working with me, this is what they should do, right? What happens after they leave? Now you should know that contract law governs your policies also. It actually allows you to have a policy in force which will cover situations after the employment is over. Okay, after employment is over, uh, you can still have provisions in your code of conduct and the employment contract which say that these provisions survive the completion and the termination of this agreement. Okay, and I am not giving you any, like, anything hidden secret, no treasure. It is clear for lawyers. There will be no doubt about it. If you show a lawyer or a judge this, okay, in court, they will be like, this is valid, because there are already many other things which apply, okay, to the employees. Things like confidentiality, things like how to resolve disputes, provisions around assignment of intellectual property. But in the HR space, we have not looked at what do we want to survive the termination of the contract. Now we've identified one area: negative reviews. So we want employees not to post negative reviews, right? Now we look at how to get them to do that, because you can't force people, right? But how do you get them to agree and all of that? I will give you some inputs on that. Okay, so one of the things is that taking what are the key elements right now, and I will get into detail. Okay, so one is to have the right policies and codes in place. I'll get into those in detail. Taking enforcement if action if there's a breach. It doesn't mean that you have to have court proceedings going on for 15-20 years. You take 2-3 steps. Start with legal notice, then you follow up with a court proceeding, inform the new employer, inform the platform that this is what's being done. After you do 2 or 3 steps, then what happens is that you start to get some results. Okay, so that sends the right signals to people. Even if you're successful 80% of the time or 70% of the time, that will send the right result to people that I don't want to take this jhamela of court. But if you don't do anything, every employee will be like, this company doesn't do anything. What's the problem if I write my honest opinion? I have freedom of speech. Okay, so you want to send the right signals by taking some enforcement actions. Remember to honor your commitments. Okay, now this is a different one and it's on the side. It's not a legal, like, I'm not saying, I'm saying this from a perspective ki whatever your promises to the employee are, operate by that. If the employee, because if there's any negative review and there is truth in that, you cannot do anything about it. Only if it is hurtful to your reputation and baseless, then only you will be able to get success. Otherwise, the whole strategy that I'm going to share with you now will collapse. Okay. Now there is one problem. In any negative review situation, you will always have this person said this and the employee will say something else, and there will be a complete difference of opinion. Okay, correct? There'll be a difference of opinion and you will be like, organization's opinion stands, right? Versus the employee. Always organization's perspective will stand because organization decides it. But sometimes there is such a vast disagreement that the employee is offended and you don't have anything to show to the world that humne ye agree kiya tha. Okay. So the problem is not that you have to prove to the world, but if somebody starts acting against you, how do you demonstrate that we've done everything possible? So how do you do that? I'm giving you a couple of tricks. Okay. So one is that if there are oral promises for incentives, any vague emails also for incentives, make sure there's follow-up action on it. And I'll get into detail on that as well. Have a clear and transparent complaints mechanism. This is for what? This is not for code of conduct violation. This is not for posh. Okay, it's not for sexual harassment. This is for company feedback to be taken. So a lot of this is lip service that companies maintain. You get feedback, 360-degree review from managers, all of that. No, have over and above that a complaints mechanism where you can spot grievances. And there is no law on this. This is a human approach thing where you have a layer, you call it a formal thing, and you say that people who have grievances can approach HR on this, and you can run it like a formal setting where you record the complaint, you record the opinion, the decision, and you record what the management says, and you put things in writing. Okay, and you get it countersigned by the employee. Okay, or you at least deliver a copy to the employee of what has been decided. What does this do? If there is a reputational hazard, look, an employee may not be happy with what you did and they may leave the company. Okay, but this will happen straight away. It excludes any likelihood that a manager will try to do something stealthily and then get away with it. It excludes key HR will not know when something is done. You will clearly say to everybody, this is what we are going to do when we have a complaint. No manager is to cross the line after that and make any empty promises to the employee to retain them. If an employee is unhappy, they will leave immediately. But this will not keep festering over time, leading to more and more stress and tension. And it distances the organization from the employee from the issue, because you can say, if somebody says organization is like this, you'll say, no, we have a complaints mechanism. We got a complaint. This is how we resolved it. So, and the employee accepted it. We even implemented it. So now if the employee is unhappy, they can choose not to work. And that is acceptable as a reasonable thing, right? You'd always say this is acceptable, right? If an employee doesn't agree with you, they can leave. And they don't have any reason to be angry. They'll just leave, right? Comply with your legal obligations, because this is a very strong defense. I have complied with everything under the contract. Okay. Usually the places where people falter, I'll tell you where they falter, are salary increments, bonuses, promotions. Okay. Salary increments, incentives, and promotions. These three are the areas where people falter. You have to make sure that these are always clear and in writing, and these are not written in the contract, because in the contract it will say that your salary and your incentives will be as applicable from time to time, right? So you have to create a practice, and this practice is not with employees, this is with managers. So your L&D team will not only train employees, it will train also managers that you are not to promise things without following them up in writing, so that you are always in compliant with legal obligations, and you're not saying something that is different from your actions. All communication about discretionary incentives, promotions, all of that must be in writing. Okay. And it's fine. You can say that, you do more and then I will consider your promotion. But after that, follow up with something concrete. Okay. And it doesn't increase the paperwork. Trust me, you will say that, am I making it all too legal? Am I making it all too technical? I'm not. I'm saying that when you're showing somebody the moon, please give them a roadmap. Okay. When you're showing somebody the moon, give them a roadmap, give them some idea of things, right? And please say that, this is what we talked, so that if they say tomorrow that you promised me the moon, you will at least say that, okay, look, interpret it reasonably. Here's the mail. This is what I said. These are the clear parts. These are not the clear parts. So what you're inferring is a figment of your imagination, right? That is very important. Okay. Oral promises about appraisals or bonuses or increments or promotions, those are empty. Non-payment of incentive. This is why most of the times employees have this problem, right? Non-payment of incentives if the employee resigns without communicating in writing. Many companies promise appraisals, they promise incentives, and then they say, now you have given your resignation, now we'll not give you the incentive for the last year. If it's not written in the policy, it's a big problem. If it's not worded as a loyalty bonus, it's a big problem. If your salesperson has performed and met his target for last year, and you are paying the annual bonus after 3 months, okay, so till March, let's say till March 2020, they have met the performance target. In June 2020, you're paying the annual bonus, but on 15 June, they gave you resignation letter. And you say that tumhara past amount is not payable. This usually is not worded in writing beforehand. You never communicate this to the employee. The first time they hear it is when they are given the resignation. That's a big, big problem. Okay. So you want to have a clear policy on it, that bonuses will be paid only if the employee has not served a pending resignation notice. Okay, if you want to follow that, that is. Okay, obtain a clear agreement when you replace an old incentive program with a new one. Even if it is sent over email, it's fine if you do over email. Just tell the employee, send me an acknowledgement please that I understand this. Create published performance improvement program. So like you have your code of conduct and policy, you will also have a published performance improvement program. Should be accessible on your employee portal or code of conduct. Okay, in-person meetings need to be documented with minutes. There needs to be a memo or a meetings of minutes where you are actually saying who's present, what was communicated to the employee, what did the employee say on that. Okay, and the employee may completely disagree. Okay, the biggest problem here is that you think that if I say X, employee says no, I don't agree, then why will the employee sign, right? So you record the employee's dissent. I said this, manager said this, employee didn't agree, record it. And then you say that employee signs what? Signs the fact that this is what happened in the meeting and that he has a copy of it. They are not signing the fact that they agree with this. You will say employee disagreed and only promised this much. Organization has requested ABCD more. Employee signs that. Doesn't mean employees agreed to do that. It just means that, employee has been given this information. Get it countersigned, it's better. Okay. So every meeting will have a memo or a meeting memo basically. Okay. Minutes need to be shown to the employee, get the countersign.